Joker, a film by Todd Phillips. The Joker is looking for a target. Getting ready, getting organized, preparing himself for the only moment in his life that will only mean anything.
One small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips, Joker.
It is me, Bud the Comic Nerd here. And today I'm reviewing Joker. And Joker is, I always start off my reviews with like something like, a happy thing. But Joker is a disturbing, dark, messed up. It is not for the faint of heart, but I love it to death. Alright? This movie is a character study. And it's not a comic book movie, I know I review comic book movies, but this is like the farthest you can go from a comic book movie. And it's so good, It's just a really well made movie. It has these dark topics. These really it's a really sad, tragic story. It's like a Greek tragedy. But for all the reasons more, I love it. I do think this is a really great movie. Now, don't get me wrong. This movie, it feels kind of Taxi Driver-ish. It has that sort of feel, I'm trying to think of those movies where it's like, sort of like Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy. This movie heavily portrays, or like, it takes heavy inspiration from stuff like that. And some people might not like it because, it could feel like a blatant ripoff of those movies, especially, The King of Comedy. But I do think it goes its own way in interpreting the character of the Joker. Now, yes, it does, kind of take stuff from, King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, but I think it molds it to its own thing. And that's what I enjoy about it. A lot of people do feel like, it just takes from it, it just ripped off. But I think it's inspiration more than just ripping off, And I do think this movie is really good, This movie is the tragic story of the Joker. Now, I wouldn't say he's the canonical Joker that you would know. This is a man who is trying to be the Joker, basically. And I think he lives up to it. This is a really good movie. It's really dark, really disturbing. And I think Joaquin Phoenix did an amazing role in playing, at least with me, Arthur. Joker's good too, but you follow this movie more with Arthur. And this movie is honestly amazing. And go see it again. So let me explain why Joaquin Phoenix is probably one of the... He's Oscar-worthy. Let me explain. Joaquin Phoenix is really good as the Joker and as Arthur Fleck. Because at least what I get from the character of Arthur is a very sympathetic character. Who is someone you feel sympathy for, but once he crosses that line, at least for me, that sympathy goes away. He portrays a mentally ill person. Arthur has a sort of childlike tendencies in a mentally ill man. And the movie could have gone differently. He would have been better. He was a happy person, There's like that whole part where he's hallucinating about being on the Murphy Show. He was happy. And, him saying, people laugh at the Charlie Chaplin movie. He was happy. There's parts where he's genuinely happy. And seeing him become the Joker is so much really interesting. It's a really interesting character of seeing, like, how far you can push a person until they snap. I honestly want to say that I enjoyed the whole cast, especially, like I said, the transformation of the Joker. Because, like in the movie, like there's so much stuff with him. I forgot the name. I can't pronounce her name. I'm gonna post it. It's on the screen right now. But she makes most of the soundtrack, especially for Arthur. When you hear the parts of Arthur, like it's in the soundtrack, it's all violent, it's all sad. It's violin music, it's sad. You hear drums. When it comes to Joker, it's rock and roll music, like Rock and Roll Part 2. White Room, even the soundtrack shows the transformation of the Joker and Arthur. That's just a little thing I like, because the soundtrack's really good. And there's one song on there that generally shows that Arthur could have been happy. There's some parts of that soundtrack that shows that, the parts of Arthur. I know I'm rambling with the soundtrack. It's a really good soundtrack. I was just listening to it. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, seeing him transformation into the Joker, like him going down the stairs. You know, going up the stairs. He's all sad and pitiful. You know, he's lonely. He's broken. But seeing him go down the stairs, the Joker, he's shaking his head, dancing. You know, he's smoking. You know, he's filling the air. You know, he's finally broken down. He's lost everything, and he's finally, you know, embraced that thing about him. You know, like there's other little things, like, you know, he always wears makeup on him, you know, showing that he did, like, when he is Arthur, sometimes he doesn't have all the makeup off of him, and it shows that, you know, like, he, you know, he's messy, he doesn't, you know, he didn't take off all of his makeup. There's a whole bunch of little stuff with him, you know, seeing him transfer into the Joker. Like, you know, like the laugh, like, he loses that laugh, Kiriuchi, you know, when he becomes a Joker. When he becomes a Joker, that nervous laugh seems to go away, you know? And that's really cool. There's so much little things I'm not mentioning, but those little things I think that are really cool. And I also do love all the side characters, well, all the other characters. And let me explain why I think these characters are important to the movie and why they add so much more to the character of Arthur. 3 big people who are responsible for Arthur's downfall, or well, like I wouldn't say they're responsible, but the catalyst, you know. And I think those 3 are Thomas, Penny, and Murray. You know, those are the people who sadly brought Arthur's downfall. Now, I don't really count Sophie in this, or, you know, Arthur's girlfriend. I'll get to her in a little bit. But Thomas, you know, so this was a leak a couple months ago. Apparently people were saying that, you know, at the end, Joker was going to be Bruce's half-brother. And, well, at first you do think it is, because, you know, it finds out, oh, my son or whatever. You know, you see the letters that, that Arthur's mom sent to Thomas, but it turns out she's a crazy lady, and she's the one that abused him. That whole laughing condition, that's from traumatic brain injuries. And that's, you know, it's like really sad, showing that, you know, like, his mom abused him. She's now like heavily medicated, so she's now like all woozy and stuff. But when he was a child, she heavily abused him. You know, she blamed it on her boyfriend, but she was obviously already mentally ill. Like shown in the document, she had like violent behavior. She was really schizophrenic. But I still think that just maybe, that Thomas could have forged those documents and maybe had an affair with her, and then she was like, "Oh, this man has a lot of money, so let me just, you know, sleep with him, get a kid, and then use him as, like, you know, like a money thing." But then, you know, once he was like, you know, back away, I don't want mess you with that and stuff. You know, she was like, you know what? I'm here with just a boy. You know, like, she's poor. She just has a child now. That's just a theory. That's just my theory. I'm just saying. But I still do think that, you know, maybe like still could be half brothers, but for the most part, probably not. You know, she's a very mentally ill woman, and I don't think Thomas would lie. But at the same time, he is a man with a lot of money, and he could have gotten away with it easily, you know, could have forged those documents and could have, you know, obviously covered that up if he wanted to. And, you know, Thomas is horrible in this movie. You know, for most interpretations, he's been portrayed as like some sort of like godlike angel. Like, he's always been like a really highly looked upon. He's highly looked upon in Gotham. In this movie, he's hated. People even call him a fascist in this one part. They call him even a fascist, you know? I know in other interpretations, like the Telltale version, he's a doctor, and he did like some messed up stuff to like, I forgot who in that game. I also do think that having Batman or Bruce Wayne in this was very stupid. You know, we've all seen Batman George, and we all know they're gonna eventually get killed. We all know that Batman exists, and, you know, they're all connected, but I don't care. I don't want to, you know, like, I've seen their origin done, shot them over and over again. You know, we've all seen the, you know, them get shot in the alleyway. This time, I thought it was kind of funny, because, you know, like, it was like blood splatter on Bruce's face, and he was just all cold-hearted. And honestly, that whole Bruce cameo with, you know, him at the gate, I thought it was stupid too. It was like, you know, we obviously know that Batman exists in this. You don't have to hand fist it down her throat, you know? Same with seeing Alfred in this. And I was like, well, you got a hand fist Alfred too. I have no problem with that, but I do think we definitely didn't need it. Also, his mom, let me get to his mom. You know, I already explained, she abused him a lot. And, you know, and that, basically, his so-called breaking point, basically, at least with me, or at least I felt like it was, you know, him finding out that he was adopted and that she abused him. You know, like, all the stuff that went horrible, that condition, the reason why he's like this is because of that abuse. And so, you know, he kills her. and it's I would say, at least for me, it's probably the most violent scene, because that whole alleyway killing was really violent. Not alleyway, but subway killing was violent. But seeing like her struggle and seeing the muffling, and it's like it's way more violent, at least to me. You know, seeing someone getting suffocated, it's horrible. I still do think, you know, like it's messed up, but that scene was completely uncalled for, Arthur. You know, she was a crazy woman, but that was the breaking point, and you know that's what got him, you know, to go take out Murray. No. What got him to take him out was Sophie. I forgot to mention Sophie, or at least Arthur's girlfriend. You know, and for the most part, I kinda knew that, you know, she actually didn't have an attraction to him. I just thought, like, you know, this doesn't make any sense, because, you know, she's such an attractive woman. And no offense to Arthur, he looks... It's Arthur. You guys see how he looks. He's not gonna pull something like that. She's like one of the best looking females in the whole movie. I don't think he could pull something like that. No offense to the guy. But, also, it's like, you know, you keep seeing, like, you know, like, how the way she acts, like, she's like... You know, he's laughing at the comedy stand-up, and she's like, you know, she's like, oh man, my man, you know, he's getting it, he's doing all this. He even slept with her right after he killed those 3 guys. So it was obviously, like, you knew it was gonna be some Fight Club type stuff. I think I said Pulp Fiction the first time. I meant to say Fight Club, I think. But it had the whole Fight Club thing, and you know, that, you know, Arthur is an unreliable narrator. And talking about that, him being an unreliable narrator, do you guys think that, you know, Arthur might have made up the whole movie? That's a theory. A lot of people think that maybe some of the movie is not real, and it has the whole, like, you know, the whole Fight Club thing, that, you know, like, Arthur is hallucinating, like, maybe somewhat, or at least most of the movie, because he obviously hallucinated the whole Sophie thing about, you know, his girlfriend or whatever. And, you know, I think I like how I said that, you know, Penny was the breaking point, but I think now I remember the breaking point was him finding out that, you know, the one person that, you know, truly cared about him didn't even know who he was, you know? Like, you know, he went to her house, like, I had a bad day, and she was like, oh, you're Arthur, you know, you're the guy from the other place, you know, from the other apartment. Your mother's ill or whatever. Like, she didn't even know who the man's was. And, you know, that made sense, because, no offense, like I said, it's Arthur. But, you know, that whole thing of, you know, with her, that was the breaking point. That's, you know, we finally realized that, you know, no one cares about me. So, you know, time for me to, you know, snap out. And so that's what he did. You know, he became the Joker. I'm the Joker, baby. Okay, let me get to Murray and why I think Murray, at least in my opinion, is probably the most important thing to the Joker movie, and why I think that, you know, at least for Murray is the most, it's the most coolest scene in the movie. I'll explain why. Let me get to that scene. I'm using this footage because, well, you know, that whole Murphy scene, I think Murphy is, like, the breaking point for Arthur. You know, he already killed those guys and already fully became the Joker, but the thing with Murphy, at least with him, is that someone is actively having a conversation, and actively having, they're having this conversation about, the things that Arthur did. And Arthur is having, this whole, like, thing that, I'm sympathetic, you guys feel bad for me, like, all this happened to me, and, you guys should feel horrible. And Murray is like, you're using this as deflect of your own actions, people treat you horrible, but yet you killed those people. You're using, you're a mentally ill person, I understand that. I know I'm kind of, exaggerating at a certain point, but you get what I'm saying, like, he's obviously like, Arthur, you keep saying people are awful, but yet you killed those guys, and you're using this as, like, some, like, pity complex, like, you want people to feel bad for you, but yet you killed those men, and you're using it as, like, you guys feel bad for me, you guys don't care about me, but, he's like, what you did was horrible, and you obviously know that, but you're acting like, that they deserved it, that they deserve to get murdered, that's the thing about it. That's why I find it interesting about that. Murray's like, Arthur, what you did was horrible, and you know, it's like seeing like both of them conflict their own like ideals. Murray is like, you know, people aren't that all awful, and Joker's like, no, they are. I've seen it. You know, he's like, you don't leave the studio. You've never seen how Gotham actually is. And Murray's like, people are good. There are good people in this world. You know, there are problems with Gotham, yes, but what you're doing isn't helping. You are actively hurting people because of your own actions. And how's that make it any better? You keep talking about how people want to be treated better, but you do this. And you know, keep it real with you, Joker can't handle it, so he just shoots Murray. he shoots Murray. You know, the guy that he's been looking up to. He just shoots Murray in the head. He's like, I'm tired of being treated like this. So he kills the one guy that he looked up to. And I find that sad that, you know, he looked up to Murray. He thought Murray was his dad, or, you know, like a father figure to him. And, you know, he was like, you know what? Screw it. Everyone's horrible. So he just kills Murray and, you know, does a little dance. And that's the point where it's like, you know, yeah, that's showing that, you know, there was someone who was actively trying to help him. Yeah, Murray didn't do the best things for him, but it did show that Murray actually understood where Arthur was coming from, and they were having that little discussion about, you know, why Arthur did those horrible things. And I thought that whole scene was so important. That's like the best scene in the movie, at least to me, seeing that, you know, both of them conflict their own ideals, and seeing how, you know, Murray, yes, he's not the best person, but he is obviously someone who is obviously hearing out Arthur, and that's just honestly the best part in it. And, you know, yeah, I did use this scene because, you know, it's The Dark Knight Returns. It took heavy inspiration. I thought he was gonna break a mug and slice the guy's neck like in this scene, but no, he didn't. Still, this was an amazing scene and absolutely beautiful. But like I said, seeing Murray, you know, and seeing that whole thing, because, you know, I looked up to Murray, and honestly, Murray should have saw that coming. A guy wearing a comics, a guy, you know, the whole comic was a political statement, and he was like, no, call me Joker, you know. You made fun of the guy on set, who was obviously, well, I don't know if he did know, was mentally ill, and you obviously knew the guy took the name Joker just out of spite, because you called him that. And now he's, you know, he's acting all willy-nilly. Well, it was the 70s. It's the 70s, 80s. I'm pretty sure the movie's 70s. If I'm not correct, please tell me. But like I said, he should have realized that he was gonna kill him. You obviously knew the guy had some screws loose, especially, you know, like the "you're awful" part. You know, that scene was obviously really amazing. And I do think that whole part was just really, really well made, and like kind of like the highlight of the whole movie. Like I said, now let me get to the rest of the movie, and let me explain why I think this movie is absolutely beautiful. I think this movie is so important, to least like for the Joker, the character himself, is that Joker has never had a definitive origin. Yes, the Killing Joke might be looked upon as the definitive origin, but he says in the comic book, if he wants to have an origin, he wants to be multiple choice. So this could maybe be his origin, but, you know, I highly doubt this could be, you know, the Joker's origin. You know, a lot of people, it's up to interpretation a lot. You know, maybe it could be, who knows? But seeing the Joker have this, you know, like an actual somewhat origin, and seeing, like, you know, yeah, the Killing Joke is a very sympathetic story, but the Joker movie goes above and beyond, showing how, you know, this man has issues. This man is broken, and this man will snap. And people kept pressing his buttons. The Killing Joke does have that, don't get me wrong, especially his whole origin with the pregnant wife and being a failed comedian. It takes heavy inspiration from that, but I think it adds more to the Joker story. You know, the Killing Joke's origin, I think, is really well done. You know, it is a sad origin, seeing that, you know, he became a crook by mistake, and, you know, he needed money, and he's a poor man that became a crook because, you know, he wasn't in, you know, he didn't have the best money or the best of times, so he had to, you know, do horrible stuff to, you know, get that money. And in this origin, into more that this man got his buttons pushed hard enough that he decided to, you know, give back at the world, show payback, you know, that he's, you know, sick and tired of how everyone treated him, you know? I absolutely love that, you know, he was tired of, you know, all the resentment, and you know, he took it out on people, sadly. I do think that's really important for the character of the Joker, because the Joker, at least to me, I do think it's an interesting character, and this does add some sort of sympathy to him, you know, like, I'm not saying that this is the definitive Joker origin, but, you know, I don't think they're making a sequel or anything to this, but you know, if for this Joker story, you know, you understand that, you know, the Joker is a broken man, and you know, I'm not saying that you can fully sympathize with him, but you do understand that, you know, why he did that, you know, and you sort of realize that, you know, this man, you know, was pushed to the brink to the end. Because for the most part in the comic books, the Joker is just a crazy guy. Why does he do it? We don't know. Why does he kill people? We don't know. He just does it because he's crazy. And for the most part, I think that is cool. But I think most people would like it to, you know, actually make sense than, you know, just being like, oh, Joker, why'd you do it? Oh, because I'm the Joker, baby! I'm having too much fun with this review, actually. I really am. But, like I said, I do think that, you know, showing, you know, the Joker as an actual character than, you know, just being just, you know, some random guy who just kills people because, you know, he just wants to, I think does add more depth to the character of the Joker. Because I'm sick and tired of just, you know, seeing the Joker just, you know, randomly kill people because, you know, he's crazy and, you know, he does it because he's a wacky, crazy clown man. I sound so stupid doing that voice. But I do think that this movie does add a lot to the Joker and does, at least as a comic book person, adds more layers to that character, you know? That I actually really do like seeing. Do I think there will be a sequel? Sadly, no. This movie, I think, ends perfectly. You know, Joker sitting in you know, the asylum, dancing around by himself, you know, that's life. I've been a puppet, you know, all that. You know, that's his life. That's what he's made of it, you know. But I think it should be left to interpretation, you know, that, you know, I don't think there should be a sequel. I think this movie should stay just the way it is. Because, you know, okay, look, the Joker is a crazy character, but this movie is super grounded to reality, and I sadly cannot see a Batman in this universe. Yeah, I could, but I can't see a mentally stable person become the Batman and dress up as a flying rodent and, you know, go around the city and beat up, you know, people. You know, yeah, the Joker is a really crazy character. This movie is, you know, it has its things, but I sadly don't think it would work with a Batman. I don't think a sequel could work with a Batman. Now, maybe, who knows, maybe Robert De Niro as Batman and the Matt Reeves Batman movie could be really good. And maybe, you know, they could bring out Joaquin Phoenix. And I think that'd be great. But I do think that takes away from the message of the movie. That, you know, seeing this character, yeah, I have nothing wrong with it. But this movie has a strong message. And I do think that would take away from it. You know, just being like, oh, now he's just, you know, like one of the new villains. You know, I think it takes away from, at least for me, if you guys get what I'm saying. I feel like it takes away. I do think it's an amazing movie, but I just don't think there should be a sequel. You know, this movie's really good, and there's a lot of stuff. You know, maybe the movie wasn't even real. Maybe he was even in the asylum the whole entire time. We never know. You know, a lot of people are saying that could actually happen. I do think there are tons of things that are left up in the air that are for interpretation, and that's what I really like about this movie. And I do think answering them take those things away. You know, like, don't get me wrong, I love some things being answered, but for the most part, the mystery could be way greater than the actual answers themselves. You know? You get what I'm saying, guys? This movie has an R rating for a reason. Now, I love comic book movies, but this movie, like I said, is not a comic book movie. Especially when it comes to violence. In comic book movies, someone gets shot, they'll get shot like the side, and they'll be bleeding a little bit, but they'll still be fine. They'll run off and walk off the bullet. But in this movie, someone gets shot, someone gets punched, you will feel that. These are guns, and these are punches. When Thomas punches Arthur in the face, you feel that punch. You feel, you know, how painful. Like, it's loud. When someone gets shot, there is blood. Gratuitously, a lot of blood. It's very gory. It's very violent, and that makes sense for the character of the Joker. This has world implications, so it's gonna have, you know, blood and guts being shown. You know, there are the car hitting scene. You know, I'm gonna say, you know, if you get hit by a car, you wouldn't be running, but, you know, whatever. But like I said, there are parts that are super gratuitous. Yeah, when Arthur shoots Murray, there's blood all over the talk show thing, over the wall. and the title, you know, with the title in the background. There's blood splayed all over it, and the blood even on Arthur's face. When Arthur shoots 3 guys, it's unexpected. You know, the lights are off, and then you see bah bah, and you see one guy go down, then you see bah bah, another guy go down. Then Arthur shoots the other guy in the leg, and you know he runs off, and Arthur finishes that guy off. And honestly, I don't blame him. He got jumped, and the man took the strap, and they got caught lacking. Keep it real with you, you know? Yeah, what he did was wrong. I'm not sympathizing with him, but if you get jumped and they pull out a gun on you, keep it real with you. It's kind of your fault, okay? But like I said, you know, yeah, like I said, this movie has. I'm not saying that more movies are bad or like their violence isn't good, but this movie, like I said, has real implications and tells a real life story. It's not a real life story, but like saying it has real life implications for this story. So it's gonna have real life implication of violence, and I really do like that. I really do appreciate about that movie. There's not gonna be no laser beams or no shot joys or no laughing fish, no laughing gas. I thought it'd been funny to have laughing gas and stuff, but I definitely do understand why, because this movie is realistic. It's probably the most realistic DC movie we're gonna get. So I really do enjoy that they actually had the time to they kind of strayed away from the whole DC thing, like the whole DC universe, and they made their own thing, like their own violence. Like I said, this movie is not the definitive Joker origin. It's not even the definitive Joker movie or whatever, But this is a movie that tells a story somewhat of the Joker. It's like I said, it's up to interpretation. But like I said, this movie has an R rating for a reason, and I do like how it tells this dark story and goes all the way. Because I was scared it was gonna be PG-13, and if it was, I thought that it can't tell the story fully of the Joker if it's PG-13. They were gonna have to imply a lot of stuff, which I don't think is bad, but show, not tell is my motto. I think it's a motto for most directors. It's a show, not tell. But let me keep, continuing. So, do I think this is the best Joker? So, when I think Joaquin Phoenix Joker is really interesting when it comes to all the rest of the Jokers. So, personally, in my opinion, I've always really liked Jack Nicholson and Mark Hamill as the Joker. I just finished recently playing the Arkham games. They're really good. But I do think Mark Hamill and Jack Nicholson are the best Jokers because they're cartoony. They're super cartoony. And that's kind of the whole thing with the Joker. He's a clown. So, he's going to be really wacky and silly, but still be very terrifying. Those 2 Jokers handle it perfectly. And then you got Heath Ledger Joker. And everyone loves Heath Ledger Joker. I do think that's an amazing Joker, too. But personally, when it comes to a Joker that I like I said, it's cartoony and goofy. But, also being very serious. Jared Leto Joker, how everyone feels about it. Personally, I think we didn't get enough time with him, so I feel like, people just, unfairly judge him. But I still do think he was a very corny and weird Joker. But when it comes to Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, he's not really as the Joker as you think he is. He's more just a really sad man, like I said, who fully transforms into the Joker kind of towards the end. But I do think, as the Joker, he is really good. I think he is one of the really good Jokers, but I wouldn't say he's the best. He's really good at his role, being the Joker. But like I said, I don't think he'll be the best Joker. Like everyone says, Heath Ledger's the best Joker, or, Jack Nicholson, or Mark Hamill, or Heath Ledger, whatever. No one's ever said Jared Leto Joker, let's be honest. But like I said, I do think Joaquin Phoenix Joker is really, really good. But like I said, he's not like the definitive Joker. He's not some silly, wacky, crazy serial killer guy. He's more just a really sad, messed up guy who's trying to imitate the Joker, if you get what I'm saying. He's trying so hard to be the Joker, but sadly, he kind of really isn't. I'm gonna keep it real with you. He's not the typical Joker that you would, get from a comic book or just any other comic book. But I still do think he's a really amazing Joker. I wouldn't say he's the best, and that whole defining who the best thing is really hard for me. Because like I said, I love Jack Nicholson and Mark Hamill as the Joker, but I wouldn't say they are the best Joker. I think I'm being hypocritical. I already said they were. But like I said, I do think Joaquin Phoenix's Joker stands completely away from the other Jokers and makes its own Joker. Makes its own playing grounds, basically. It changes the game. Same with Heath Ledger's Joker changed the game for the Joker. And Joaquin Phoenix's Joker turned it completely around. So, let me get to the end of the review. Like I said, Joker is an amazing movie with a story it's a message of, you know, be careful how you treat people. Like I don't think I explained that. At least that's the message I got from it. Is, you know, people are always going through something, and you never know. Now, maybe that there maybe could be no message, but I strongly agree that there is a message in this movie that you know, be careful how you treat people. You never know what they actually go through. I'm not saying, like, you know, he's, you know, school shooters and stuff like that. A lot of the media has put it to, you know, that, oh, it's gonna be some incel uprising and stuff, when, you know, the movie really isn't about the Joker being an alt-right member killing people. That's not the Joker's thing. In the comic books, he's even stood against Red Skull for being a Nazi, which is pretty funny. So, guys, Joker isn't a racist, you know? Whoa, Batman, I might be a serial killer and a serial killer clown, but at least I'm not a racist. I'm gonna stop with the voices and stuff. But like I said, I'm being weird because it's just funny. But like I said, this movie is really good. It tells a very sad and disturbing story of what Arthur did, you know, showing that, you know, this man snapped, and showing that, you know, what happens to people, you know, how you treat people. I'm not saying that, you know, this is the ultimate message of it, but that's at least what I got from it. Like I said, it can be left to interpretation, and I'm not saying that is the definitive message, but that's what I got from it. You know, Arthur is a man that, you know, is sadly on the point of insanity, and that was broken for him. So like I said, this is a very dark and disturbing movie, but it has so good qualities. There's like little things. This movie has an amazing soundtrack. Like I said, the soundtrack is absolutely beautiful. And like I said, please check it out. Go watch it multiple times. Tell me little things you see in the movie, because I want this movie to actually actively be a discussion. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
Joker, a film by Todd Phillips.